welcome to another episode of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission is to uplift, inspire, share stories and experiences and perspectives using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our mission is very simple. It's hope, helping other people every day. This episode and the episodes before were created from about 300 quotes that I originally created and used in some of my manuscripts. And I thought it would be great to talk about how it landed on me and the interpretation and perception based on the quote. It expanded to friends. And so we're joined here by usual cast of characters. We have Bruce, that again, Mr. Hill, life is changing. We have Ife, brand new blood in the house. Wahim, new brother in the house, barbering. And then, the master entertainer extraordinaire, Naheem Garcia. Welcome to another episode of Motivational Sundays with Kevin. And this week's quote is brought to you by New Blood, Ife. So the quote that I'm going to share out there with you before he shows how it lands on there is an original quote from him himself. He says, I am not where I want to be. I'm exactly where I need to be. And who is to say that tomorrow I won't be exactly where I want to be? Mr. Ife, your quote, go ahead.
Okay, that quote is just real powerful to me because I sit back sometimes and just reflect on my situation. Definitely been able to do a lot of things via social media and amass a whole lot of numbers. Right now, I'm in the process of building my brand, monetizing my brand, but still offering value. So even though it's a beautiful struggle for me right now, me meeting Kevin was not a mistake because I knew I was going to have to get into podcasting, and the best way to get into podcasting is to get in there with somebody who wants to show you the whole process. So another thing with that saying is I'm exactly where I need to be, meaning that yes, everything is not ideal. However, I do need to be on this journey so I can learn the lessons and I can be solid, because one of the biggest things, and me and Kevin have talked about it, is being able to usher in people to opportunities, to be a mentor and to find mentees. Because if I could find a couple of young people who are looking to do very similar things to what I'm doing, and I can get them there in a few years as opposed to the 11 years I spent, then I've done my job. So where I need to be, I'm here learning the lessons. I'm here growing by the day, getting better. And then the last part is just hope. And who's to say that tomorrow, not necessarily saying the next day, but eventually I'll be exactly where I want to be. So it's pretty much taking what I've gone through, what I'm going through, and what I will go through, and just offering a message of hope, but understanding that it is a process, it is a journey, and just inspiring others to really just sit back and think about their past, their present, and future, and to be positive about it and appreciate all the steps.
All right, let me ask you a quick question. Where did this exactly land on you? Where were you at the moment this basically became part of your conscious thought?
I would have to say that this happened 2 months ago. I'm really in rooms for the most part that align with my purpose, networking, motivation, and being a resource to others. So as I was really going through my Clubhouse experience, and being on stages and talking, I realized like these words came organically to me, and I want to be able to share my message with the world. So then this quote came to me anywhere from 1 to 2 months ago, and it's been part of my calling card ever since, because I feel that a lot of people just want to go from 0 to 100 quickly, or they want to be like, I'm here and getting paid tomorrow. And that's not the case. It's a process. You have to build a team around you. You have to learn the ins and outs. You actually have to go through a couple of disappointments. Where I'm at with it, and you also have to understand that you're going to get you're going to get hit from different forms. You know, another saying that I have is new levels, new devils. So as you hit new levels, there's going to be new obstacles. There're going to be people that seem like they're blessings, but they're not. So I woke up this morning and then a situation where I was looking to work with somebody. I sent them my paperwork and I told them, hey, we can talk about the paperwork. Let's figure something out. And now he's name dropping and telling me all these people that he has in contact with him in the music business and calling me a broke manager. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. You got it. You got everything you need. You don't need me. And even telling me that I can intern for him for free and that I should be paying him. But just a few days ago, he was telling me his whole life story and where he was going with the music. So I don't even worry about that. That comes with the territory. What motivates me is being here on this Zoom meeting, having people like Kevin that believe in me and just saying, yo, despite what I'm going through, I know where I want to go and I'm going to get there. So just a personal anecdote right there.
That's heavy. You always have to remember going through life. Sometimes people stand on you because they can't stand up on their own. And that's the reason why they do that. All right. So just live, be you. All right, Naheem, I am not where I want to be. I am exactly where I need to be. And who's to say that tomorrow I won't be exactly where I want to be?
What comes to mind is wisdom dwells in contemplation and knowledge is obtained by degrees. What that means is that everything has its levels and its stages. Bottom line, there is a process. You can't get to 10 unless you go through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are steps that are needed to be taken in order to obtain the proper knowledge of yourself and what you have to do. And it's a work in progress. Got to keep pushing, got to keep working. I would love to be, not a superstar, but a working actor that's working all the time, making the kind of money they need to make, to be able to allow other young actors and producers to come into the scene, to allow other educators opportunities to teach. And I have done that at my small level. And I like to get to a higher level with it, but it's progress. Somebody say, you gotta go to Hollywood, you gotta go to New York. No, I just have to be in my skin, in my mind, in my heart, and believe in myself and take care of business and communicate. This is why this forum is important to me because, when I hooked up with Kevin through our mutual brother, Dr. Raymond Porch, I love saying that. It allowed an international platform, meeting Sam and meeting all these different people, Bruce, everybody that's constantly traveling and all over the world. So connections and establishment, it's all in time, because many years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to appreciate this circle of people and be productive with this circle of people. So right now, in this time period in my life, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And tomorrow I might be doing more, or maybe still here. Either way, I keep pressing on. Peace.
All right. I think somewhere back in earlier episodes, Brother Bruce had brought up, I can't remember exactly the quote, but he talked about the moment in time. And you have to remember, today is yesterday's tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow is the future. Okay. We have no control over whatever is going to happen or whatever. Yesterday, no matter how much we regret, we want to change or celebrate, it's history. And that's the reason why that, most car manufacturers put the small mirror in the center of the car. So everything behind you becomes smaller. And the reason why your windshield is so wide, because that's your opportunity. It's what you do today, what you do at this very moment, the conversation and the space we share with like-minded people that's on this podcast is what matters. So with greater wisdom, I'm going to pass it on to another educator. Bruce Hill, how does this quote land on you?
I'm not where I want to be. I'm exactly where I need to be. And who is to say that tomorrow I won't be exactly where I want to be? I thank you for sharing that quote, because I like this concept that as we move through this reality, we move through time and space, where you are, physical location, state, country, your relationship status, your degree status, family status, even your age, where you are becomes almost irrelevant in contrast to who you are. I've grown to learn that I evolve independent of all those factors, and that who I am influences where I am. It might influence my environment around me. It might change my environment, but I spend very little time worrying about where I am in life, where I am in my career, where I am in fill in the blank. And I spend all my time and energy on who I am. And that's made all the difference.
There you go. Well said. Well said. And again, for those on the panel, I'm going to say Happy Founders Day, because all of us are celebrating. Sigmas, alphas, omegas, other sororities, Divine Nine. I learn so much every single time I sit in this space, and that's why I always say, to everyone that I talk to, become a professional listener, because we all like to talk. God gave us that ability. Sometimes our conversation lands on a person that basically moves them. I am moved every single time that I hear that silky smooth voice of Bruce Hill as he, pumps out that knowledge. Everyone says dropping nuggets. This is wisdom. So for those of you that are listening to this podcast, and we're not going down the top 10 list of what other people that have been very successful has created and popped out there, these are real people pass on this knowledge. So when you walk on the beach and you look at those footprints in the sand, think about this quote: I am not where I want to be. I'm exactly where I need to be. And who is to say that tomorrow I won't be exactly where I want to be? All right, we're going to pass it on to our neophyte over here, brand new blood young lady, educator, Miss Barbara, speaks 3 languages, from Germany, now in the US of A. Welcome. How does this quote land on you?
I already heard so many really great examples. I guess to me it is also, I really like the symbolism when you said that you look smaller, that the back looks smaller than the front, and to refocus on the future, I think is a really good idea. I think this way you keep your dreams big, and I think you should dream as big as you possibly can, because this way you can reach anything. And I always say the sky is not the limit, because there is no limit for us. We have infinite chances in life. And if we follow our dreams, there's nothing we can't reach.
Very, very true. We're giving you applause and claps and loves, and hearts are going off, all those other little things that I don't know how to do on social media.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. All right.
Very German, very short.
That's all right. And I'm glad that translated over, because I know in English versus German, words mean something a little different. Since I've been talking to you, I have learned a lot. Never ever say to a person from Germany, what was the word that I said yesterday, that I'll talk to you later or see you tomorrow, something like that?
No, have a great day or something.
Yeah, don't say that to a German person, because that basically means F you to them. It translates that you don't want to talk to them anymore.
No, it just means we assume since we take it literal today, we will not speak anymore because have a good day. So the day is done
All
for
right.
communications.
All right. So I learned. So, you know, I,
So
I am speak.
what's the appropriate way to part with a German person?
Um, until later, because if I say until later, I still leave the option open that you can communicate with me or not, you know. But if I say have a good day, that means the day for you and me is over.
All right. So with that said, we now learned a little bit, and she will be being introduced on a podcast coming up with RMK Productions and talking with Kevin and Son, along with Eve, and soon we'll get Bruce on the schedule. So I'm going to repeat the quote again. I am not where I want to be. I am exactly where I need to be. And who's to say that tomorrow I won't be exactly where I want to be?
Hmm.
When Ife gave me the quote, um, I had looked back and I had thought I had a lot of people in my life growing up influencing me. You know, my high school coach, my Uncle Bill, my grandfather, my cousin Ronnie. And Ronnie always said every single morning, he says, you know, you need to be present. You need to be sharp, show up on time, say what you mean and mean what you say. He says you also have to be dependable. He says when you tell people you're going to be there, he says you need to be there early on time and ready to put in the work. I get up every single morning, and the first thought of my mind is to thank God for me having another day in order to do His work. When Brother Bruce and Naheem came on, the acknowledgement was confirmed because they share the same faith. I've talked to Ife. I've talked to Barbara. She's saying they're very strong in their beliefs and their faith. We're all driven by a higher power, no matter what you may think you believe or what you don't believe, that something we touch every single day was created by someone or something that we don't have the answer to. So when I talk about I am not where I want to be, my forces and my energy are being driven by someone that's a much better driver than me with a great deal of power. And who's to say that when I get to my destination, I will not be exactly where I need to be? This conversation I have with these wonderful people, I surround myself with people with greater knowledge, greater inspiration, and I learn. So this is exactly where I need to be, and I am present. And I thank you guys for sharing the knowledge, sharing your stories, and I hope our listeners appreciate that Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends is just more than a conversation. These individuals are game changers. So with that said, we're going to close real quick. Bruce, would you like to leave a little bit something on the table? Give them something to chew on before we leave, and I'll go around the horn from here.
Yeah, any quote about progress, about transformation, I always remind others to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey.
Naheem.
As always, you run into roadblocks. So feel your pain today, but tomorrow feel your glory.
All right. Barbara, I'm a Southern boy, so normally I go with the women first, but I didn't do that today because you're brand new to the family. And so I didn't want to put you on Front Street like that, but I'm not going to save you for last. Go ahead.
Thank you. Stay hungry.
All right. Ife.
Thank you. I'm just appreciative. I'm just appreciative of this space. I'm appreciative of everyone that's here and the opportunity to have conversation that could possibly reverberate to others and possibly help them as everyone is going on their individual journeys, whatever their goal or destination may be. So usually when I'm in a mood to come up with words such as the quote, it's me doing a self-evaluation and understanding that sometimes your words can be bigger than who you are. So I'm just happy to be here to share. I'm happy to be forming this brotherhood, and shout out to Barbara. Thank you for joining. And anyone that's on here is going to be great, because when you have a standard for yourself, you understand that you have to work with people that also have a standard for themselves, but you also know that you're not the smartest in the room. And I'm okay with not being the smartest in the room, but I do understand that when you're given certain blessings, now it's time to appreciate those blessings and put in work, because faith without works is dead. A lot of people have faith that they can do things, but they're not going to do the work. Everyone that's here on this call has been putting in work and will continue to put in work. So with that being said, thank you so much. And I hope that this motivation touches somebody. Thank you.
And I like to thank you and my listeners, all of us. And thanks everyone for sharing this space. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please go to RMK Productions and Networks on our YouTube page and subscribe, hit the little bell, and follow, so you'll get updates, not only for Talking with Kevin and Son, but Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. If you'd like to be a guest or like to be invited to be on part of this panel, go to info@rmkproductions.net, fill in the space, and we will send you the Zoom link. I want you to remember, my grandfather always said, when you get to a point in life that you can help someone, it is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one. My personal hashtag is find 1,000 reasons to be kind to someone. I'm going to leave you and with my listeners with this one comment. Be original. Don't be a copy. And I'll fade to black, and we're out. All right, guys. All right, another one in the bank. This was great. Thank you, Barbara. Unmute yourself, Barbara. Okay, she's got an extra B in there. Oh no, she spelled it right. I misspelled it. All right. So, what did you think? Being the first time on here, this is Ife's second time.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's very inspiring. The people are super interesting. Thank you so much for the invitation. I loved it.
Yes, yes. And Ife, all right?
Yes.
Don't ever let someone ride on your dream that's dragging their feet. That's an original quote from Kevin. Okay? You guys need to write that one down. That was good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And feel free to repeat it, because I'm going to tell you, if you read my book Sprinkles, I talk about dream stealers. All right. Those are the people, and sometimes dream stealers are your own close personal friends. They say they want you to do well, but they really don't mean for things to do well for you. That's what I mean by dragging their feet. They hold on when they're supposed to be pushing you towards your goal. They're holding on, and you're struggling along, and they've got their feet dug in, and you don't understand why it gets so heavy sometimes. Why is it so hard? It's because you're carrying around people that don't need to be part of your dream. It's okay. It may be your brother. It could be your own parents. It could be your best friend. It could be the other person on the other side of the pillow. All right. Those conversations that tell you what you're not, I want you to flip that around, because when I was in the 8th grade, I had a teacher, and I don't know what her inspiration or motivation was, told me I was going to amount to nothing more than a janitor. And there's nothing wrong with being a janitor, but I'm going to tell you, out of my years of being in the workforce, the last thing I've ever had in my hand was a mop or a broom. All right? Because that motivated me to prove her wrong. And sometimes dream stealers are placed in your life to see how big you want your dream to be.
So never let anyone ride on your dream when they're dragging their feet. Is that what? Is that what? Okay.
Yep. Never let anyone ride on your dream when they're dragging their feet.
Yep.
Got it.
That's awesome.
Okay. And now you understand why I've got more than 300 quotes. It's because when I have conversations like this, especially with young people, because young people trust too easy. And that was one of the things that the original owner of the Phoenix Sun, a friend of mine, the late Carl Elder, said. He wrote a book, and if you ever decide to read it, he says, without character is everything. Without it, you have nothing.
Mm.
And he told me one of my biggest flaws was I trust too easy. And that's something I constantly have to, when I have people come into my circle. Everyone comes into your life for a reason. Sometimes more on their agenda and less for yours. And it takes some time to figure out why people are in your life. I know this space that I have right now, that people are in my life in order to help this dream manifest itself, because they know my commitment is that when my dream or my star rises, I am not rising alone.
That's
You
it.
know? So remember that. And matter of fact, that should be on a freaking t-shirt.
Good.
No, get to it.
I'd wear it.
Yep.
Get to it.
Yes, I give the translations. Make it global.
Make it global. That's all right.
Yeah.
All right. So I just want to thank you guys. This was one hell of a podcast. And again, a lot of times the conversation that happens after the podcast is stop recording, which is the reason why Ife, Barbara, the reason why I say never stop recording until you actually are officially done is because a lot of times the outtakes are a lot stronger than the conversation that actually happened in the interview. All right. So all these little outtakes, whatever, we can actually every now and then make part of your teaser reel and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And believe it or not, I do want to start a t-shirt company. I do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I just have so much on my plate. I need a team of people that share the dream. And I have a great concept to do this because I'm a firm believer everyone wins. And, you know, when I get those right people in place and get the finances in place, I'm
Everything
gonna do
wins.
that. Yep.
Then,
And
then you win.
yep. And not Naheem, and I'm going to tell you, you're probably the brother that I'm going to have to put in charge to do that. And then probably, you know, two of the people that are on here also are going to be that person. I'll share that with you. All right.
Mhm.
All right. So with that said, all right, young lady, you have an interview that you need to get prepared for. So it should be it should be easy. It is no different from this. I'm going to tell you, both Naheem and Ife have done this already. It is nothing to worry about. You don't get shanghaied. You don't get jumped on. You don't get, you know, not in a bad place. It is strictly entertainment and it's fun.
And you could talk, you could speak your heart. You can not just speak your mind, but you can speak your heart.
Yeah.
Very
You know,
true.
and your truth. Well, I would expect if you speak your heart, you're
That you
speaking
speak
your
the
truth.
truth. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right? Because
All
truth
right.
has no heart. Truth is heartless. That's why it's bad and it's evil and it's wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Ife's interview podcast, Uncut, is being released I think Tuesday of this week.
Oh,
Yeah, I actually moved one up, two up. I moved him up two in front of two other interviews. It was just because it was so much freaking fun. I wanted to lighten up the new year with something, and plus, you know, everyone wants to see what goes on behind the closed doors of some companies. So, you know, I'm going to do that a little bit more with our podcasters, and it will be a great introduction to when he finally announces the release of his podcast. Barbara and yours are going to be soon, so your interview and your podcast are going to follow. So I'm probably going to make that announcement tomorrow, unless you change your mind about doing your podcast. But let me know early on tomorrow. But
No,
I
I'm
wish.
more inspired now.
All right. So with that said, you guys have a blessed Sunday and be the change that needs to be. Inspire somebody. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.